Hello to my fearless leaders in District 1170, the legends, along with the mighty District 5483. It's me, Kelly Coleman, coming out to you, along with my family, baby Hank, and my husband, Todd, making a little cameo. Coming out to you tonight, the Thursday evening that would generally be our leadership webinar call. In lieu of that, understanding that it's a busy time. Summers are busy. Speaking of families, like you just saw mine, many of you are probably with your family, maybe on a family summer vacation, have the kids home out of school. Just doing your regular jobs in addition to your Avon, of course. I know there's a lot going on. And with all that in mind, I still want to keep the gang together. I want to be sure that we continue to have calls and updates to make sure we're on the same page so that we can look ahead to upcoming campaigns, to be sure we're maximizing them, to look at our current campaigns and be sure that we are leveraging, every program incentive that is available to us. And essentially know that where we're at versus where we need to be. So you have continued growth in your leadership team, as well as the district's numbers and our regional numbers on up to our national Avon business so that we can ensure a greater future for this company that we love so much. So with that said, I love having the gang together. I miss seeing you guys. Of course, I would prefer a live meeting, but in lieu of that, like I said, I think that doing this video amongst your busyness is a great way for us to all get together, stay on the same page, and really have more participation than we would have if we were doing a regular webinar. So with that said, I'm going to switch over here in a second to a PowerPoint that looks very similar to what we would use in a typical Thursday night, and I'm going to go through some business updates and some very well-deserved recognition. We'll look at the state of the business currently and have a call to action. So buckle up. I will give you a kind of a precursor that this is about a 30-minute video. So I hope that you will watch in its entirety, as I have so many very important things to share with each and every one of you. So hang tight as I share my screen and get to our presentation. All right, so here we are. Again, thanks for joining. I love having the gang together. Like I mentioned, I do wish it was live, but because it can't be, however we can get together and have the most participation as possible, I think the better, because it's such an important time in our business. It's a time where we have a new director of sales. I'll get to that in a second. And we have some priorities that are really important to the future of our business, to the health of our business. And ultimately, it's all about us coming together and winning as one team, one Avon. We may have two districts here, but collectively your sister districts with the exact same destination. And we're going to make the journey and getting to that destination the same and winning together. So with that said, I want to just share with you, I have the awesome opportunity of traveling to Atlanta with a couple of key leaders last week and meeting and listening to a presentation from our brand new Avon Director of Sales of North America Sales, Margaret Gramman. Quite frankly, it was one of my best Avon days lately. I just think that the opportunity to be out in the field was in and of itself exciting, but the most exciting thing was meeting this new leader, our new sales leader, who comes from outside of the company, but in the last 3 months with fresh eyes has really seen this business through lenses of change, understanding that we have some issues and understanding that we have tremendous opportunity. And as she has assessed the business and really kind of compared it against her strengths and her corporate background, she is simplifying our mission down to one strategy, and it's crossover. Essentially, the priority, this crossover priority, is all about one thing, and that's growing representative count. It's about our staff having more representatives. It's about your team being larger. That's it. It's one priority, grow, rep, count. And again, she calls it countdown to crossover. And crossover refers to us crossing over a staff number that's greater than where we were last year. So crossover has essentially two pillars. The end result is for us to cross over by campaign 26 to a goal where we were at the highest staff point of last year. But to have some successes along the way, she's breaking crossover down. And our first threshold of crossover is happening now. She calls it bend the trend, and the goal is to end campaign 16 with a +1 staff advantage greater than where we ended campaign 11. Remember campaign 11 several months ago? Yeah. Our goal from then, between then and now, is to be +1. And so we have our first threshold of crossover happening before the close of campaign 16. Let's look more specifically per district at our crossover goals. Starting with 1170, where our first goal, that bend the trend campaign 16 goal, is 396. Currently, we're 5 representatives away from this goal. Our ultimate goal is campaign 26 goal of 418, where right now we're about 31 representatives away from the goal. Our first goal is to grow by 5. That's what we have to do between now and campaign 16. It sounds like a lofty goal, but I'd rather be just growing by 5 than having that 31 staring down at us, right? 31 is the ultimate goal by the end of the year, but we can be +5 at the end of 16. And then beyond that, we only need to grow between 2 to 3 on average per campaign. That's between now and campaign 26, the end of the year. Same thing in 5483. Our first goal happens at the end of campaign 16, where we need to be at 408 representatives. Right now, we're 6 away from that goal. So we need to grow by 6 in campaign 16. And then our ultimate goal in campaign 26 is to be at 438. For right now, we're 35 away from. So 35 of growth between now and the end of the year, which is about 3 per campaign. That's our ultimate goal. But again, let's just look at 16 first and foremost and get to that +6 by the end of this campaign. Essentially, the end of the year goal is lofty, but as we break it down in bite-sized chunks, so to speak, starting with this campaign 16, bend the trend goal. I love how it's kind of in smaller little sums, because as we grow steadily in those small sums, campaign in and campaign out, between now and the end of the year, we will make it happen. But I can't do it without you guys. I need you all on board. I need every leader in both districts, all hands on deck, if you will, to really dig deep and be sure that you and your teams in all generations are doing what you can to grow your staff. And I need a lot of new leaders on board, a lot of new candidates and promoters on board to help as well. Those people, those candidates and promoters, are likely on your team. And so to identify them and help them get their team started, in addition to what you're doing in your first generations to grow your business, that's what it's going to take for Countdown to Crossover, our one priority for Avon US, and to get us back to health in our Avon business. Let's take a better look and talk first and foremost about your specific role in crossover. I mentioned that this was Margaret's directive, Margaret being, essentially the head of Avon US. But from her, it trickles down to our regionals, our division managers, to me and to you. This won't happen if you're not playing in it. And so as we think about your role in crossover, it's essential that you understand what you need to do to make your part a success. So with that in mind, how do we grow representative count? Quite simply, we do it by having more additions than removals in each and every campaign. What is an addition? An addition is a new representative placing their first order. An addition is not a contract. An addition is not somebody that you signed up. An addition is somebody who you signed up who's had their first order. So when you bring a person aboard or when they come in online, they're just pending until they have that first order, and then they're an addition. We need more of those. In addition, we need to manage our removals. A removal is a representative who's becoming inactive in the business by either having a past due 3 campaign, carrying a balance for 3 campaigns, or because they've been inactive without an order for 5 consecutive campaigns. Either way, those are the 2 categories of pending removals. And if we don't save those past due 3s or inactive 5s in their respective campaign of pending removals, they'll be removed in the next campaign if they don't pay their bill and have an order, or just have an order to stay active. So how do you manage this? Well, the additions front's pretty simple. You want to appoint more new representatives and get them to place their first order. If you have people in pending, you want to convert those pending that have already been appointed into actual representatives by helping them have their first order. That's the addition side of the business. But in regards to the removal side of the business, you want to save pending removals by using your action items in your downline manager to assess who is past due 3 in all of your 3 generations, or who is an active 5 in all of your 3 generations on your team. You want to call these people. How can you help them? Do they need to do returns? Do they have an order to place? Do they need brochures to help them get back on track? You won't know until you assess this group in your downline manager and make the call to help them. It's up to you. And as you manage this, you will dwindle down your removals and keep your staff healthy by not just dwindling them down, but of course, simultaneously having additions so that you can actually grow. That's your role, and that's how you're going to grow your representative count. But let's talk further about it. Let's think about what's in it for you. I mentioned already, this is a U.S. directive, but again, when it trickles down, it all comes back to our number 1 key element of the business, and that's our leaders, you. But in regards to you, what does it mean when you grow your staff? It's an equation that I love. Right? More staff on your team equals more additions. I don't know what just happened. It just screwed up. Oh, I know what happened now. Oh, I have to start over. Oh.